to live in a country where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly.
Okay. You should be ashamed. Shame is not a bad thing. In what world is it not shameful to look at a young kid, 5-year-old, who can barely talk and then call them a bunch of slurs? There's a trending story coming out now that some lady who was at a park was
slurring.
Yeah, was using slurs against a 5-year-old black kid who's autistic because I guess
Did you call him the child? Did you call the child the word? It is my own business. You call him Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again?
After the fact, the video went viral. She claimed that her life was being severely impacted by it, so she made a GoFundMe, and it's raised over $500,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, people want to draw parallels with another case. There's a lot of stuff happening, but I want to play for you like a Piers Morgan clip because like people went online to either defend the lady or go against what she was doing, or the GoFundMe. And this is one of the ladies who was just there talking.
Why would you want to support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in a country.
That's fine. You can support free speech, but you also have to be accountable for what you say. Would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would?
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised Piers doesn't know this because this girl went viral for doing that. She's one of those people who went viral on Twitter because she's like a white lady who likes saying the N-word a lot.
Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke-ass.
The fact that Piers doesn't know what his guests are
He's
known
on the
for.
other side. He's on the other side.
But no, he brings on the guests. So he has like people that run through their background and find out what these people are about.
They don't always know.
Well, that's the basics.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. You're perfectly right. He should have known.
Should have known.
But in reality, yeah, whenever you go to these shows, like, they know the gist of it and go. It's not everybody that read all the notes and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
really,
this isn't even the bare minimum. Like, if I'm having a topic on racism, and the reason why this girl's known is it's like not knowing what the Haktua girl's known for when you interview her. That doesn't make sense to me. But
you're 100% right.
I do, quite frequently.
You use the N-word quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're a despicable racist, are you?
Some would say I am.
If you use the N-word repeatedly, you are a racist, then, are you?
Myron's like, she's hot.
Sorry, but just to be clear, you just said to me you use the N-word regularly. In what context? Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate to use the N-word? When would it be appropriate?
Anytime I feel like it.
So you're an unashamed racist.
Correct.
Well, do you understand that makes you a despicable human being?
I guess so. I don't really care. I mean, why are we not talking about Shiloh Hendrix? Why are we talking about?
Well, actually, I think you've moved it on in this debate very quickly to your own racism, which explains why you've supported her in public and why you've got all these views. You see no problem with a woman shrieking the N-word repeatedly because you yourself are a despicable racist, and you've just proudly admitted that with a smug grin on your face, which is pretty horrifying, actually, for most people to have to watch. And shame on you. You're entitled to do it, and I'm entitled to call you despicable.
Oh, okay, but she don't care. You can repeat it. She don't give a damn. Yeah, there's gonna be people. I'd rather like that. To be honest with you, I know it's maybe gonna be a hot take, but I'd rather see people like that, cause I know what the hell I'm dealing with, and I know what not to deal with that person ever. I know that. They post it. They say it. They like, this what I am. This what I don't like. They're not trying to please people, and then you end up working with them, and then you find out later, and then they've been backstabbing you. No, that person is upfront. I'm not commending what she's doing or how she's thinking, but for my safety and for what I know, okay, that person is a racist. I know how to handle that, which means I'm not going there. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I'm not fucking that with someone else's dick. It's just that the racism that we have right now, the racism that we have right now is very, we don't know. It's like, I'm always like, am I sure? It's always speculation. Now I know. It's clear. That person is like that.
So you see somebody racist, and your first thought is, oh, I'm just glad they're open about it?
It's not, I'm just glad. It's crazy. There's nothing I can do about it. You know what I mean? But at least they are exposing what they are. I don't want to have to deal with someone like you don't know you're doing service to someone and you're like, you're interacting with some people and you're unsure about that person, but you cannot really, I can't pinpoint it.
But you understand that's all you said. All you really just said right now is, I'm glad that she's out and she's saying what she's saying.
I said, at least I'm glad that she's out. I'm
not said anything else about the topic.
No, I said, I'm not happy that she's doing that. There's nothing much.
Okay.
What are you getting at? I'm not understanding.
I just think it's interesting that you're seeing someone who's unabashedly racist and out here endorsing the idea of calling a young kid, a 5-year-old, you know, the N-word a bunch of times. And all you really had to say so far is, I'm glad she's open about it. That's pretty much most of what you said.
Yes, yeah, that's pretty much what I said. But I mean, of course, c'est sous-entendu que it's not good. Of course, it's not a great thing. I'm not happy that she did that. It's crazy that she did that, but she did something that's not legal. Legally, you can't do much about that thing. It just goes back to, I'm probably the problem, to be honest with you. Like, it just reminded me of how things were back then. And when I was playing it, like when you were playing in the park, you would encounter these people. Like you would encounter these people, and you would go in the park. You would be groups apart, and then there would be altercation with people that didn't like you because of the way that you look. At least you know either not to go to the park or at least fight back. But that's when we were kids. Things kind of change while being an adult, and I wouldn't even know how to handle that. I don't even know how to handle that. I'm happy I know where to stand. That's the thing, is that there's been so many years that you didn't know. You're always like, you're claiming something and everybody's saying like, no, it's not that. And you're like, no, I'm pretty sure it's that. I got signs, but I can't clearly tell you, but it's really the feelings that I got. I'm not saying I'm super happy about what she did. Again, I'm just saying that, well, that's clear. We have that clarified. This is happening. That little boy, it's really unfortunate that it happened, that a little boy has autism. Unfortunately, it's going to be life and you're going to encounter people like that. It's really unfortunate. It's really bad. But you know what? I don't have an answer to this, and I don't even know what to do in those cases. And I don't even know what is the thing. What is the thing to do? What I have to say? Because I've been, after the 43 years of me in my life, I feel like I've been talking about it. I've been on shows. I've been talking about it. I've been talking to people about it, talking against it and stuff like that. I've been doing all these things. Not that nothing is done. It's very slow, and I don't know, all these things take a lot of time, but really, I'm asking you, Dan, what is to be done? You got that person in the park doing that and saying that, which is, the police is going to show up and be like, well, shit, don't do that, or else we're going to come back and slap you back on the wrist, and then leave again. The person's not harassing the kid. She's just saying blah, 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 blah. When the person came back and confronted her, I saw a bit of the video, she's leaving, and then she keep asking the questions. Like, okay, I understand the confrontation. But there's nothing, I don't feel like there's much more that you could do about that, except what we're doing and what they're doing. Talking about it, and after that, people are going to choose a side. My point of when I'm saying I'm glad she's so, at least she's saying it's really just a part of the whole life that I've been through, is I'm happy that shit is clear and I can clearly say, hi, bitch, okay. I'm not crazy. You are that, you claim that you're that, you're not like trying to hide behind something, you're saying that. So I know that when I see you, you're a giant red flag, I'm not gonna interact with you. But I'm not happy she said that, you know what I mean?
And I guess my point wasn't that I think you're happy she said that. I'm asking you what it is that you feel. What is it you actually think? That's all. And I think now I understand a lot better. I was just saying I only got one glimpse of it, and I get where you come from. I don't disagree.
Sure. It's just that the rest was very, of course, you know what I mean? Duh.
I mean, it's okay to say what's of course, because you know what? Common sense is not common to everybody.
Sure,
and sometimes until they hear it from you, they don't know how you feel.
Fair.
You know?
Fair.
So that's one of them ones where better to explain the things instead of assuming that people understand it.
You know, I follow trends and stuff like that sometimes, like with the clothes and stuff like that. I like things that look good and that in the moment. I never in my life bought Doc Martens. And my mom back in the days bought me like the low Doc Martens, and they were not the real ones, right? But even then, since then, I had PTSD because I was told when I was in school that I couldn't wear that because I was black. Some black people, when I came in, and when I went in a black school, they all said like, "Oh shit, nah, B, that's a no." And I still get PTSD when I see high-rise Doc Martens, especially if you got white laces. It does something to me. If you got a bummer jacket, EBGBs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I used to fight those people. We used to walk around with our belts around our knuckles. And then it switched to people being scared of just saying it. They were that, but saying they had to fucking not say it in order to be able. But now I'm not glad. I'm not like, the good old days of racism. It's not that. It's just that.
It's easier to identify.
At least I know what to deal with.
I want to live in a country where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly, and you will
well, go
not
on then,
have
say
free
it. Say
you
the
will
M.
not have
Go on,
free speech.
Say the M word. Go on.
I'm not
Hang on.
Don't invite. No.
No.
I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me because I'm the only on here. So if she says it, I'm the victim of it. So please don't invite her berated to call me the N-word because that's basically what it's going to be.
I agree with them. Yeah. I don't want you to start telling other people to call me a slur.
It's like,
because then I'm gonna look at you crazy.
Yeah, you're
I
crazy.
understand what Piers is saying. He's like, oh, if you're really that, then just come out and say it. But
no, it's circus.
But no.
Just the fact that she say I'm comfortable into saying it, you don't have to say it.
There's a bunch of white people up here. You and one Uncle Tom on the left here, and to ask her to say the N-word.
Facts. He's an Uncle Ruckus, bro. This dude, I've never heard someone who let it like throatily slip that they want to be white so bad, other than Myron Gains.
I've noticed with black dudes, they don't like doing that shit. White guys, we're all like, yeah, well, I said we. Yeah, well, not me.
He's white, Justin.
Read the caption out loud.
The boys plus our token. Golly.
What the I heard that some of y'all were raising the salute, so I decided to come back.
Uncle Ruckus never slipped in his knife.
You know.
Maybe one time she was a white lady, her name was Roxanne.
And to ask her to say the N-word while I'm here is ridiculous. You would not sit here with a Jewish person and say, please use a Jewish slur in front of this Jewish. It's ridiculous. I understand you don't have any bad intent, Piers. I understand what you're trying to do. But we already know she's racist.
hear you.
And I don't want to invite a racial harm to me.
I hear you, and I accept that, and we'll leave it there.
Shout out to Piers. At least he accepted it. Okay.
At least.
She said something. I said, hold up. Let me just make sure I got her words right. I want to play it back.
I want to live in a country where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly.
Okay. You should be ashamed. Shame is not a bad thing. Not always. You should feel shame. You should feel shame for looking at a 5-year-old who went through your diaper bag and then calling them a bunch of slurs. Absolutely. The idea that this is somehow some kind of virtue is crazy. I don't know. Twitter is basically the place where a bunch of adults go to be edgy teens and essentially use every slur in the book because they think it makes them cool and they talk about like it's a fashion of free speech. Listen, I have no problem with people wanting to be able to say these things anywhere they want to say them. Fine, say it. But don't act like it's some virtue that you're saying it all the time. No, you just want to be edgy and you think it's cool to be yelling slurs every single day, every minute. That's all it is. Now, going back to the original lady, right? When we were talking about the topic of shame, the idea that she's going to make $500,000 from this incident and everyone supporting her. You know, these are a lot of the incidents that make me super comfortable with saying I will never be a conservative in my life. You will never. Ever. When I'm seeing all these conservative creators donating to our thing, talking about, oh, we just want to be able to take our place back. And what? So let me. Growing up, for me, a conservative person embodied a lot of traditional values. They embodied the ideas of chivalry. They embodied the ideas of being well-mannered, of being God-fearing. A lot of these good things that I thought, in a lot of ways, could be very good. Okay, and we get to 2025, and it's just like, say the most offensive things you can at every point. Have the biggest potty mouth possible. If you get a chance, yell at children and call them all kinds of slurs. It's so bizarre to me how much that is flipped, right? They used to say the irrational, crazy ones were the basically SJW types. And now you have grown women yelling at 4-year-olds slurs because they went through a diaper bag. It is crazy how things have changed. But then to have conservative creators in mass defending a lot of this nonsense, it's just like, oh yeah, that's why I'll never be anywhere near this shit. And for all the people who be like, oh, you guys are the dumb, you will have to be a fucking idiot to sit there alongside these creators who basically look at you as third-class citizens. You know what? I bet you anything if these motherfuckers were still in power, they keep you Negroes as slaves. That's what I really believe. Because the way that they talk about y'all is nuts. And they don't even do it in hiding. You know, watching Myron sit up there and talk about, oh, you know, we have to take back our country. And then having the white supremacists look him dead in the eyes and be like, yeah, but when we do, you means you got to leave.
Myron, you were in MySpace the other day. And I said, you know, you're doing a great job calling it these Jews. But, you know, if we take this country back, we want it for white folks. And would you go home? And you said, I was born here and I'm not going anywhere. And this is where I think the problem is with working with non-whites is that once you think you help us, that you're just going to stay in our country. Do you still stand? Why do you Browns think you could stay in my country? This is the issue with whites working with non-whites.
We're over here talking about a problem, then you bring it right back into, you know, this whole white thing. Like, dude, shut the fuck up.
This whole white thing is what built...
Why would I ever?
And he's still trying to defend it.
And he's still trying to defend it. It's like, they don't want y'all there, but y'all be begging for scraps. It's crazy. So... this kind of stuff, when I see the whole GoFundMe, all this other stuff, it's just more reason to stray away from all these conservative folks, because you recognize that a lot of the things that they embody don't have space for people that look like me. And I have to say very clearly, they're going to say otherwise, they can yap about it, but until they start condemning the people who say all that nutty shit, I don't want to hear it. Until I start seeing creators on that side of the spectrum coming out and actively speaking about that, the way they speak about fucking blue-haired feminists that nobody really cares about, I don't want to hear it.
Funny thing about what you just said is that it's crazy because they're fighting it like when they finally take over the country, you're going to have a special place in the house.
And we need to have a majority of white people, and white people need to be running America.
You're not going to be in the fields. You're going to be in the house. It's like they're going to shoot you back in the fields. They don't want you in the house.
You guys should feel shame. Absolutely. Shame is a good thing. Right. Shame means that you're not living to the values that you profess to have, or not living in a way that's becoming of the bare minimum of somebody who's part of society. I mean, yeah, you should feel shame. You out here talking about, I want to moon kids, or I want to yell fucking slurs at kids. You should feel shame. In what world is it not shameful to look at a young kid who can barely talk and then call them a bunch of slurs trying to destroy their self-esteem? Are you mad? Of course you should feel shame. You should feel shame for donating to that fucking thing too. Absolutely. And I don't want to hear this is equivalent to like the whole, the whole case with the stabbing. There's no relation to it. If you feel the need to donate to some just because there's a self-defense claim that's being funded somewhere else, these things are not parallel at all. They're not analogous. You can say, I don't agree with that kid, what he did to that man and stabbing, killing him, he deserves to go to jail. Fine. Why are you donating to in contrast? Why? Because people did a GoFundMe for his legal fund? To me, it's so bizarre what I'm watching. And to watch grown adults trying to convince me these things are the same, or that, because one person or these people did bad, I'm going to go and yell at a 5-year-old and support people. So you guys just basically said it's great to go up to kids and yell whatever you want at them. That's what I'm understanding. That you should go up to kids, and if you want to call them the most foul things as an adult, that we're going to financially support you if you have any backlash for that.
They do understand what shame is. They're just hypocrite about it. Because they're the same people that say, oh, we need to bring back bullying. That is their version of shame. They want people to be ashamed of, you have to be ashamed of certain things. So they do understand it. But they don't understand it when it doesn't fit with what they feel. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just being hypocrite about the shame thing. They understand that. They want to apply it to others, but not to them. They want to have a lack of accountability with the shame as well.
Yeah. I will say, also, people on the right are much better about being loyal to each other, irrespective of what the other people do. Because you don't see leftist creators will spend a lot of time talking about trans people, talking about how crazy a lot of this shit is. Very comfortable. I mean, I've done it on this channel for the longest time period. And then I realized at one point, I was like, oh, while we might do that in terms of talking about what's going on our end of the spectrum, did you ever see them spend time talking about racism?
No.
I don't think I've ever seen them condemn it a single time.
No.
I will never ever endorse a movement that means that me, my kids, my community would be exiled out of here or treated as second-class citizen. If that's what you're about, you can get the fuck up out of here too. So when I see this goofy shit online, it's getting more and more popular. Hey man, keep that shit away from me. But that's all from me.
That's all from me.
Yeah, you don't want to say nothing about the lady of the kids?
I said what I said, bro.
Okay.
Like, I'm not fazed by anything, and you're gonna say, well, you're not fazed by anything anyway.
That's facts. You are like that.
Yeah, but I've seen a lot of these. It's the same shit repeating itself. You understand what I'm saying? If we walk in the street, right? We walk in the street in Brazil, and you see someone with a gun, you're gonna be like, huh? No, you see, I've seen that. I've seen that before. We were in Haiti. There's some fucked up shit that happened. It's like, yo, you went what? Yo, I've been through shit like that. Not that you were unfazed, but you were like, I know what this is. I know what this is. I know the way they're looking at me. The way you looked at me and you said like, hey, if they jump here and you jump over, that the mechanism that you had is because you've seen this shit before. So it's not so much that I'm not fazed about a lot of shit. It's just, I've seen shit. I've seen that. This whole situation screamed 1988, 1993. It's that. And I was 6. It's very familiar. That's it.
All right. Well, let us know what you think in the comments below.